Drake has just dropped a new diss track towards Kendrick Lamar via Instagram, and on this track, he's using the voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg through AI, and there's a lot to talk about, so we're going to be breaking down the entire track and giving you our thoughts on this entire thing. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video, because we're covering this entire battle. But Ant, let's get into this, bro. How did you feel to hear it?
Well, listen, I was in the car driving yesterday, right? Like, Nick and I had gone out with some friends, and all of a sudden I see that, Fagella sends in the text message that Drake dropped a new track. And I'm like, what do you mean? Is it maybe like an extended version of what was already dropped, or is it something completely new? And no, you guys confirmed it for me. It was something completely new, but it wasn't officially released through DSPs. It was released through Instagram. So already, we took the phone, we hooked it up to the aux cable, and I was just so confused, right? Because I hear Tupac's voice, I hear Snoop Dogg's voice, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And then I realize they're Drake flows, and it's low-key Drake lyrics all the way throughout it. And then you get a full extended, let's say, verse from Drake himself towards the end of the track. The beat is absolutely elegant, and it sounds like a one-on-one between Drake and Kendrick, kind of talking to him, being like, listen, if you know what's best for you, drop the track. Drop the track if you have something in the tuck, and do it quick, because if you don't, then there's probably something coming for you.
And what's incredible about this is that Drake is in full control of the situation. Like, this is a check move where he has Kendrick right where he wants him, because if Kendrick does respond immediately, everyone's going to say, well, you're following Drake's lead. You're under his control because you're listening to him. But if Kendrick decides to go into hiding, right, if the caterpillar goes back into the cocoon, then everyone's going to see that he's ducking. So Drake is in the best position possible right now. A lot of people had mixed thoughts about his use of AI. Is it morally questionable for the art, or is it just a trolling mechanism? I'm on the side, this is a fucking crazy trolling mechanism, and I salute it, because when you look at the history behind this is not the first time that Tupac's having a conversation speaking directly to Kendrick, because Kendrick has said that he's had visions in his sleep of Tupac coming out and telling him, I want you to keep my music alive. Don't let it die. We know that Kendrick has always had a spiritual connection to him because their birthdays are a few days apart. It's his biggest idol in the game. And on Mortal Man, Kendrick's having a whole conversation using an old Tupac interview. So this is a genius chess move, because, as we know, Kendrick is the guy to do this usually, to shift perspectives.
Not only that, but what's cool about the Snoop Dogg part at first is that I started to realize, because they were starting to mention the House of Blues, right? And they were starting to mention that passing the West Coast torch. And it's like now Tupac's talking to Kendrick. So I found it cool. Listen, the AI doesn't do much for me, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think that it was good to get underneath Kendrick's skin. And like you said, I think that it's a good move on Drake's part, just because you're putting more pressure on him. You want him to diss him, and you want him to come through, and you want him to deliver this track. So should we get in a couple of bars?
Let's get into the breakdown. So we start off listening to Tupac saying, Kendrick, we need you, the West Coast savior, engraving your name in some hip-hop history. If you deal with this viciously, you seem a little nervous about all the publicity. Fuck this Canadian light-skinned dot. We need a no-debated West Coast victory. So you have Tupac sort of, Drake, I should say, egging Kendrick on, saying, you're backing a whole coast here. We need you to come through. Nothing really too crazy.
But what's cool about that part, though, is that it's probably playing into the perspectives and maybe the words that he's getting from his camp, right? Like, you got to end this guy. Do it for the West Coast, right? Like, you've been asking for this.
USA versus Canada and all that.
Like that sort of battle, and Drake's playing into that, and he's showing that, I know what's going on here. I understand what's going on your side, and listen, I'm not dumb, and I'm watching it all unfold. But continue. What else do we have?
After that, we have Call Him a Bitch for Me. Talk about him liking young girls. That's a gift for me. Heard it on the Button podcast. It's got to be true. This is maybe the most crucial part of this entire track, because what Drake does so well here is that he's disarming Kendrick. He's softening a potential blow that he might endure, because Kendrick might use that as ammo about the whole situation of whatever, Drake being into younger girls, whatever the case may be. It's a genius move. He's disarming him. It's a great war tactic. But to keep on going, they told me the spirit of Machiavelli is alive in a guy under 5'5", so it's got to be you. I would beef the whole fucking game. It was me and Snoop Dogg, had my fucking shirt off in the House of Blues. K, you gotta fuck this guy's girl. He got to get abused. I like this reference because this references how Tupac came at Biggie at the start of Hit 'Em Up, saying, I just fucked your bitch. Drake is making Tupac say the same sort of thing to Kendrick, again, giving him ammo, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Then he goes into all that shit about burning tattoos. He is not amused. That's jail talk for real thugs. You gotta be you. So how did you feel about that one? It's Tupac sort of saying like, you gotta come a bit harder than like,
yeah, for sure.
than the bars you had on Like That.
And not only that, but I feel like looking at this perspective as well, is he using AI to maybe like insinuate something about something that happened this week? Is that something potentially that maybe is being done? You know what
maybe,
I'm saying?
I don't really know. You did have OVO Hush saying that like the song was real or whatever it is. I mean, there were sources coming out saying that it was fake, so that's kind of a mystery at this point. After that, we have...
this one's very interesting. Towards the end, you're supposed to be the boogeyman. Go do what you do, unless this is a moment that you tell us it's not really you. And now that's when this starts to get interesting, because then you get into the
wait. I want to stay on there for a second.
Okay, because I feel like the way that the Tupac verse ends is what Snoop Dogg starts saying, at least while Drake in the Snoop Dogg voice starts saying on the second half of the verse.
I just want to stay there for a second, because when he says, you're supposed to be the boogeyman, do what you got to do, Kendrick is attacking not him, the person, but his rapper persona. He's saying, well, if you're the boogeyman and you're this guy that everyone's afraid of and that you're a lethal killer when it comes to, being on the mic, then where are you, bro?
Absolutely.
Where are you? Unless it's a moment that you tell us this is not really you. This is a dig at J. Cole in a sense where it's like, are we cut from the same cloth or not? We saw that J. Cole didn't want any part in this because of, it wasn't, lying well on his conscience. Are you going to take that approach? Are you going to show us that you are the man that you say you are when it comes to this hip hop shit?
But this is
also,
yeah.
To stick on that once again, you asked for the smoke. You seem too busy for the smoke. Are you about to give this shit another week? Again, just getting Kendrick to drop. But
Absolutely.
Where did you want to go with this now?
I wanted to go into the Snoop Dogg verse because this is where it starts to get a bit more, teetering for Kendrick, if I should say this. Nephew, what the fuck you really about to do? We pass you the torch at the House of Blues, and now you got to do some dirty work. You know how to move, right? Right? I know you never been to jail or wore jumpsuits and shower shoes. Never shot, never shot nobody, never stabbed nobody, never did nothing violent to me. It's the homies that empower you, but still, you got to show this fucking owl who's the boss of the West. So it's like, okay, listen, at the end of the day, we're going to start questioning your character now. Now there's like doubt within, let's say, Snoop Dogg's perspective, and that's what Drake is doing right here with Kendrick Lamar. So I found that really genius.
It is good because it's playing into like the Kendrick hypocrisy of like, well, are you really going to be snatching chains? Are you really that kind of dude that's active in the streets? He's putting that into question. You got to show this fucking owl who's boss on the West. What else do we have that's interesting? Because right now it's looking like you're writing out a game plan on how to lose, how to bark up the wrong tree and get your head popped in a crowded room. And this plays into a way that a lot of people are feeling right now, that Drake's up in this. And he is up right now because Kendrick is going silent. He has 2 tracks now to sort of address. And I think that this is, again, a genius play because Drake just back-to-backed him, right?
Yeah.
It's been 4 days where you're at. Now Drake is saying, listen, bro, it's been a week at this point. Do you really want this or are you going to stay dormant? So, again, it's a back-to-back kind of play.
It's a very interesting question. But okay, let's keep going on with this. World is watching this chess game. But are you out of moves?
Wow.
That's interesting. Dot, you know that the DOG never fucking doubted you, but right now it seemed like you posted up without a clue of what the fuck you about to do. That is so interesting. That is interesting. He is playing into the fact that Kendrick has absolutely nothing on him. And I feel like, regardless, we don't know if Kendrick Lamar has anything on Drake, right?
But he's planting a seed of doubt within the Kendrick sort of side, the Kendrick side.
Absolutely. And just on the world stage, right? Like now you're really, really digging deep and you're forcing him, come out to play. I am here.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Stop waiting for it. So now that we've gotten through these 2 perspectives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the perspectives, at least from, these 2 verses are, you're not necessarily doing anything and you're sleeping on this entire battle. It's technically only been a week. So it's like in my head, give it some time. Maybe give it a bit more time.
I agree. And I think, again, this is another tactic. Do I have to respect the war move in the sense of like maybe he's trying to rush Kendrick into giving a half-assed response and putting that pressure so that he doesn't have the same amount of time that Drake took to come out with push-ups. So I do agree with you, though. I think that Kendrick does have time, but the public perception is heating up, and
That's what he's doing. He's fucking with the public. That's what he's trying to do.
Psychological warfare.
Absolutely. So Drake is kind of giving Kendrick a taste of his own medicine, right? Because Drake had taken those 3 weeks, and the track list ended up dropping. Well, no, not the track list. Excuse me. The track ended up dropping, but now at this point, you've released it officially, and then that same day you release another one on top of that. That is some serious pressure. Now, I feel like a lot of the community are going to start asking some serious questions of where Kendrick's at, but Kendrick could take another 2 weeks and it's still fine.
He could, but at the same time, it's like Drake came way more direct.
That's very true.
And at the same time, like that was almost more of a response to first-person shooter, which Kendrick took 6 months to put out. But now I feel like we're really in the ring. Like that was Kendrick calling the match. Now we're in the boxing ring, and Kendrick just isn't showing up. So while I do agree with you, technically, yes, Kendrick can wait another couple of weeks, but people are going to perceive that a certain way. So I feel like there's way more pressure than there ever was on Drake.
Absolutely. I think that it's a smart move from Drake, but in my opinion, Kendrick could take another week.
Yes,
Kendrick could take another week. He could take like some time, to be able to
take another month, and people are still gonna be there for it. It's still gonna be relevant whenever it comes.
But this is a genius move from Drake.
Absolutely.
But do you want to get into the Drake verse?
Let's get into the Drake verse. So yeah, Unk, that's the truth. I'm definitely about to come around the Line Gang. He called them the Line Gang. It's hilarious. And let my fucking bowel move. Shitting on you guys from a whole different altitude. Clever, witty, nothing crazy though. High up in the sky like I'm Howard Hughes. This is the first one. Really only took me an hour or two. So again, Drake is so fucking confident on this record. I love the energy. The next one is really about to bring out the coward in you. So let me ask you, is he talking about this song itself? Is it going to bring the coward out in him, or the next one after?
No, I guess it's confirmed that he has something else waiting for him.
Yeah.
I guess it's something else.
And is that going to scare Kendrick away?
I guess it's something else.
And is that going to scare Kendrick away?
Oh, I don't know, man. This is an interesting game right now when he's telling him, like, even if you come in 2 months, I'm waiting. And I have something ready for you.
I'm going to be on your head top whenever.
And I'll continue releasing material. This is a game for him at this point. I'll continue releasing material. Because at the end of the day, too, Kendrick did open up this can of worms. You called him to the battle.
And you know what?
You called him to the front.
All of this talk about a Kendrick album maybe happening in May and the response only coming on that album, I don't want to. I'm not into that, bro. I'm not into like using this as a promotional tool because Drake is making this about the sport. He's dropping fucking AI assisted tracks on Instagram, bro. Like he just wants the smoke, and we know that Kendrick is not the guy. He's a purist. He's never been the guy to chase the numbers or to chase a viral moment. Fuck that. This is not about an album release. This is not about a marketing rollout. This is about a battle. I don't want to hear no response on an album. Fuck all that.
I think I'd be extremely disappointed if that's the case.
Absolutely.
Like, how do you do a whole album rollout to not address Drake? Out now posts and all kinds of stuff like billboards and all.
People are saying all the hard part 6 and then 2 weeks later the album.
Yeah, get out of here.
Come on.
We're past the hard series at this point. There's no more. There's no more hard installments. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to answer this directly before you release any more music.
100%.
Because at that point, you look like you're ducking. But anyways, let's keep going on with this. This one's interesting. But now we got to wait a fucking week because Taylor Swift is your new top. That's fucked.
It's funny. It's funny. Yeah.
No, it's sick because like he's telling people like, this is like he's doing this for the numbers. You're doing this because you want a #1 single because you know you're coming at the biggest artist in the world. You know what your song is going to do, but you couldn't drop it this week because there's a new Taylor Swift album in rotation. So you're not getting your #1 on the Hot 100.
Yep, exactly.
And it's attacking his character even further. It's all these jabs, bro, just like exposing him. It's absolutely, it's genius, bro. It is. And if you about to drop, she got to approve.
He's just playing with him there. And this girl is really about to make you act like you're not in a feud. She tailor-made your schedule with Ant. You out of the loop. And Ant, of course, is Anthony Soleil, who's Kendrick's manager, who I guess Drake is hinting is the one that's sort of orchestrating the moves on the PG Lang side of things. But hate all you corporate industry puppets. I'm not in the mood. I love it when you guys talk loose. Like I'm not in the room. So again, he's saying that Kendrick is doing this for clout and that it's all being orchestrated to generate #1 songs and hit records and more money into their pockets rather than focusing at the task at hand, which is dismantling your opponent lyrically and with whatever jabs you have coming. Since like that, your tone changed a little bit. You're not as enthused. How are you not in the booth? It feels like you kind of removed. You're trying to let this shit die down. Nah.
That's
Not this time. You following through.
Absolutely, forcing him to drop, right? Like now you wanted to open up the can of worms with Like That. It's time to respond and it's time to get back into the booth. And he does have a point. Since Like That, it's been radio silence. It's only been affiliates talking about how we like microwaved, we don't like microwave food here. We like good cooked meals. It's like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
How are these Drake disses microwave food? Like,
It's not.
because
It's calculated as fuck. Drake is 5 steps ahead.
bro, I have been going through comment sections and I have seen the community reception change within a week.
Yep. I know.
Drake has completely taken over this situation within a week with only 2 tracks.
Absolutely.
It is incredible.
The rest of y'all are definitely I guess you need another week to figure out how to improve. What the fuck is taking so long? Be waiting on you again. That back-to-back energy's present. The rest of y'all are definitely involved. Y'all getting it too. As soon as you get the courage to drop, I'm out on the loose. So he's saying that, hey, Future. Hey, Rick Ross. Hey, ASAP Rocky. Hey, Abel. I'm here. Once I get the big dog out of the way,
And now I'm
I'm
coming after you,
here.
and I'm coming after you.
Show me what you want to do, bro.
Absolutely, this is crazy.
This is insane, and I love this energy. He's really unleashing the inner 50 Cent out of himself, and I mean, listen, the way that it's looking right now, the way that 50 Cent maybe lost to Jadakiss, I don't know if Drake is in a position to face an L, but anything's possible. Anything's possible. Kendrick.
It depends. I don't even know what Kendrick's going to come back with at this point, because when it comes now to like a lyrical to lyrical type of thing, Drake has kind of like dismantled a lot, bro. He has exposed a lot, and he's juggling everyone at once. It's some fucking crazy shit.
He's playing defense
absolutely.
on this record. He's playing defense, and he's disarming it.
Yeah, this one's interesting, all right, because obviously we'll go into the outro talking about Taylor Swift. That's not what I want to concentrate on. This one's interesting. Dot, I know you're in that New York apartment. You're struggling right now. I know it. In the notepad doing lyrical gymnastics, my boy. You better have a motherfucking quintuple entendre for me.
Quintuple entendre.
Quintuple entendre for me on that shit. Some shit I don't even understand. Like, oh god.
Drake is funny, bro. Drake is fucking funny.
He's really, really digging in. He has to have something.
If he's
doing this and
no
he's
way.
really so how do you think this escalates, right? Because you and I are saying it, Kendrick Lamar has time. The public perception is completely different, but between you and I, hip hop fans, I feel like Kendrick could definitely take some time with this one. So where do you see this going? I also think that he could take some time, but he is on the clock. There is a clock. The longer you wait, the longer the perception is going to start going against you. And I don't know if that's great for how people are going to receive your diss track. The longer you wait, the more anticipation there is on that diss track, right? So
you're the one that scheduled the meeting. You're the one that should be first to fucking show up. So I do feel like there is a bit of a different timeline for Drake and Kendrick. I do feel like Kendrick has more pressure to drop because he has 2 nearly dedicated diss tracks against him. He's the one that called this battle to begin with, and he's getting played out, bro. He's getting played out, and I feel like what ends up happening is going to be very interesting because Kendrick could either play into Drake's hand and give him the response that Drake has been begging for, which Drake has another record ready for the one that comes. So again, that probably scares Kendrick a little bit. Or he ends up waiting it out and maybe ties it into a rollout. I think either way, once again, Drake is in the pole position to win this thing because he has something ready. It's the second time he teases that. He teased it on push-ups when he said, don't make the demon come out. And now he's teasing it again, saying the next one's going to bring out the coward in you.
Incredible. And even, there's 3 options that Kendrick could go by, right? Tie it into the album rollout. No one's going to fuck with that.
No.
I think everyone's going to look at that as a weak marketing move, and
Yes.
it's going to expose the entire hand. The next one, Kendrick Lamar releases it right away, and there's a possibility that it's low-key a bit weak because it feels rushed, right? Then he has to address, now not 1 song, but 2 songs. Now there's 2 songs to address. Drake addressed it like that verse, so you have to address all this material. The third one that could possibly happen, he doesn't release anything, and the whole public perception changes on Kendrick. It's kind of a fuck situation.
It
is. But you know what? Don't count out Kendrick Lamar
You
because
can never count out Kendrick Lamar, guys.
No, absolutely.
One of the best
like
rappers
we were saying
of all
with Drake
time.
at the beginning with this, no matter how the tides have turned now or how the tables have turned, it does not matter.
The same way
absolutely.
that at the beginning of this battle, everyone's saying Drake is the last guy who has a chance to win this. He's not even a formidable competitor in this. Look how the fucking tables have turned. The same way that now the tables can turn once again and maybe lean into Kendrick's favor. But the way that I'm observing this all, Drake is in the pole position to win, and this was the check move. And all it's missing is the checkmate. So
Let's see.
We'll see what happens.
Drake is cooking right now. Drake
is
fucking
in the fucking lab, and he is ready for the smoke from everybody.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
He doesn't care. There's no way he's letting 2018 happen again. No. I have a hard sentiment that I think that he doesn't give a fuck anymore.
And that's why he had the upper hand, because he had that chip on his shoulder, bro.
Well, he
does not want to lose.
He made his gravest mistake in 2018 with rushing tracks and knocking on the wrong door, and kind of playing into the whole feud and
focusing more on Kanye than Pusha T.
No, one at a time now. Now we're doing it's perfect. It's so well done.
Oh man!
And I'm telling you, one of Drake's biggest demises in his career, one of the biggest tints in his armor, might be one of his biggest W's.
Last question. Mm-hmm. If Kendrick remains hiding, if he stays into hiding, does Drake hit back with a third one?
If he hits back with a third one in a row, bro, it's over. I think it's over.
Wow.
I think that's what Drake's gonna do. If he starts taking like 3-4 weeks and he starts to like really take his time with it, and
it's gonna be kill shots.
Yeah, absolutely, it's over. And then you hit him with 3 of them. How do you address 3? You're going to have to release a 9-minute track. Man. And then you're going to have to address your own shit on that track to have... It's impossible.
Guys, Kendrick has to respond immediately. That's the boat that we're in.
Okay, I want to say... No, not immediately.
The more that he waits, the more Drake is going to build that momentum and, again, possibly drop a third track.
That's very true. Oh, that's a good perspective.
I'm telling you.
That's a very
he's backed into a corner right now.
That's very good.
Kendrick has to drop. And I'm not doing... I don't want to make it a claim of like, well, we gave Drake the grace of 3 weeks. No, like, this is a different situation.
It's a completely
different ball game now.
Absolutely. So, guys, let's see what happens. Let me know how you feel about this entire situation in the comment section. Let us know where Lou and I got it right, where we got it wrong, and what would you like to see next from NFR Podcast. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.